There was 3 other people in the room with me, and we were literally divided by like curtains. It was awful. I got on the bed and I looked at Matt and I nearly burst into tears. It was awful. It was not how I imagined at all. I thought that you would get your own room with your own bathroom. We had a shared bathroom. It was really grim. But anyway, so I sat there and I put the fan on, and I waited, and they came in and they introduced, like the midwife introduced herself, and she said, right, we need to strap you to the monitors for like 45 minutes. I was like, oh my god, like, can we get going already? Like, I want to get going. Anyway, so she put me on the monitors for 45 minutes and everything was fine. And then let me just check my notes quickly. 4:45, she came in and she said, right, we're going to do the pessary. So she went out and another lady came in and did it. And after she'd done it, Matt said, Corin, she literally had the biggest hands ever. They literally chose the one with the biggest hands. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't even realise. So anyway, so she came in and she said, can I do your pessary? And I said, yeah, that's fine. Please, let's do it. So she said, right, I'm just going to bring your cervix down, which was so uncomfortable. And then she said, right, you're 1 centimetre. I'm going to push the pessary in. I'm going to have to get it back quite far so it doesn't come out. I was like, oh, great. It was so uncomfortable, like, so uncomfortable. And then after that, she then swept me. And then she's like, oh, I've given you a sweep as well. I was like, oh my god, it was so painful. And then she left the room and I was monitored again. And then as soon as they took the monitors off, I was like, right, I need to walk. And then they came in with dinner and I had to like sit and eat dinner after going through all that pain. It was awful. But I thought to myself, like, I'm going to have to eat something because this is going to be my last dinner, right, before I give birth. So then after that, I was like, right, I need to walk. So we walked up and down. It was like really hot there for some reason, like in the room, in the corridors. But by like the stairwell of the stairs going up and down, it was so cool. And we like pushed the window open and it was so nice. So we went up and down the stairs and we sort of like had a little venture around the hospital, really. It was really nice, going through all the levels, because they do it in like letters. So maternity is B level, but I was doing like, we were going down to A and then went up to B and then we had to C and D and like oncology and all that, and it was really fun. So my contractions were like 10 minutes apart, but then all of a sudden they went to like 2 or 3 minutes apart. I've actually got them on my contraction timer. Let me just quickly show you. And I was so shocked, I couldn't believe it. Like, they were going like, so anyway, I went back to the maternity ward and I was like, they're like 2 to 3 minutes apart, thinking that she'd be like, oh my god, let's check you. But she didn't. And when I was labouring with Harry, they said, ring us when you're like 4 minutes apart. So then, or 3 minutes apart. And then I was saying to them, like, mine are every 2 to 3 minutes apart. And they just like weren't bothered. Right, let me just... Okay, so she gave me the pessary at 4:45. So we started timing them at about 7. And you can see the duration of them, of how long they were, and the frequency, like how often they were. I can try and do it. Hang on. There we go. So that's the time of when I had them on this side here. But yeah, so they were coming pretty quick. I was really concerned, but she wasn't. So I said, can you check me? And she was like, no, because it's like too much risk of infection. I was like, oh, what? So she said, do you want a bath? And I was like, no, I need to be walking. I need to be walking. Just because I feel like I just want to be like free and like walking. So we did this for about another, I don't know, about half an hour. And then I came back and I was like, I need gas and air, I need something. And she was like, well, we can't really give you gas and air now because it's not good for you to be on gas and air for so long. I was like, oh my god, how long is this going to go on for? Like, this is awful. So then she said, go and have a bath. So I run myself a bath. I got in and that was lovely. And if you haven't seen the video, go back. There's a couple of clips of me breathing and puffing and feeling really sorry for myself in the bath. But yeah, so then after that, I got out and I was so uncomfortable and I felt like his head was coming down really low, and I was like, oh, I feel like I want to push, but I think it's just like the pressure on my cervix more than anything. So then after that I said, right, I need to be checked. So I got on the bed and I was more insistent this time, and she was like, right, okay, I'll check you. And I said, if I'm 2 centimetres, don't even tell me I'm 2 centimetres. And she was like, you're 2 centimetres. And I was like, no. I bawled my eyes out. I was so upset. I was absolutely devastated. I literally thought I was going to be like 9 centimetres. I think it was a bit like wishful thinking, but anyway, so let me just quickly, so 8 p.m. I was in and out of the bath, and she checked me at 8 p.m. and I was 2 centimetres. And I was from the pessary going in at 4:45, and my contractions starting at 5 o'clock. No, not 5 o'clock. When did they start? Don't know. I had like contraction, like, you know, like the tightenings. Hair's really frizzy. But yeah, so then after that, I lost it and I was crying, and then each contraction that came, I was frightened and I was in pain. And when you're frightened, because I thought, this is it, like, I'm going to have to be doing this for like hours and hours and hours. If I'm only 2 centimetres now and I'm in this much pain. I said to her, like, I was in this much pain just before I pushed Harry out. Like, that's how intense the contractions were. And they were literally like bang, bang, bang. Like, there was pretty much no let up. And it was just so awful. So anyway, I was really, really sort of like feeling sorry for myself, and I was like, woo, 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 like this. But because there was like a room full of people, they actually moved me to the labour ward, which was really good. So then after that, so what happened? So they moved me, and it was weird. I got checked when I was 2, so then I did like some more walking about, but like I said, I'd lost it, so I was like really not in my right frame of mind. And I was like crying out and I was so uncomfortable. So they moved me to my own room at 9 o'clock, and she checked me again. So this was like was it about an hour? Yeah, so in about an hour, I'd gone from 2 centimetres. She checked me again. This was like different staff this time. She checked me again and I was 4. And I was like, no, that's it, epidural, epidural, epidural. I cannot do this. And I literally said to them like this, look, I cannot do this anymore. I'm in absolute agony. This is what it was like just before I had Harry, like half an hour before I had Harry. I am not going to go through this for another 6 hours if it goes 1 centimetre an hour. I am not doing it, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it. She was like, oh, okay. I said, I need an epidural now. She was like, well, the doctor's in surgery at the moment. I was like, oh, chestnut. I was really, really cross. And then with every contraction that was happening, it was just literally back to back to back. And I was in so much pain, and I was like up against the back of the bed like this, and I was just like rocking and swaying, like trying to help myself with the pain. I had like my fan, and I had gas and air. They'd finally given me gas and air by this point. I was puffing on that and I wasn't doing anything. And then Matt was saying, like, don't take too much because you'll hyperventilate, and I did, and I felt so dizzy. I was literally going like this. And then about 10 seconds later, I was like, whoa. It was so weird. It was like being drunk. So then I was like, oh God, I feel really, really drunk. But then suddenly that wore off, and then the next pain came, and it was just kind of like that. And I got to about quarter to 10, and I thought, I can't take this anymore, I'm just going to start pushing. I literally cannot do it anymore. I was literally with every single contraction, I was screaming out, I need an epidural, I need an epidural. And she's like, yeah, I'm just going to go and get him, I was like, no, you're lying to me, I can't do this, I'm not doing this anymore. I was so angry. See, the thing is, with Harry's labour, I was very calm, I was in the water. The whole time with Charlie's labour, they had to monitor me, and they were like, right, you need to stay on the bed, you need to be monitored. I was like, I'm not laying on my back. I'm not. So what ended up happening was Matt had one of the little like suction things, and the midwife had the other. And as I was rocking, they were both there, like with their hands like this, like trying to. Oh, it was awful. It was awful. It was the worst pain I've ever been in my whole life. And I was like, I'm going to die. I'm literally going to die because I'm in so much pain. And I thought I had quite a high pain threshold, but this was just like another level. This was not like treading on a plug or banging your funny bone or like ripping your nail up. Like, this was the height of pain, and then like beyond pain. I really hope I'm not putting anyone off, by the way, by telling you this story. So then after that, I think it was just because I was induced, so it was really awful. So then after that, quarter to 10, sorry, I lost it, and I was like, I can't wait any longer. I'm going to push. So I started pushing, and I was not fully dilated at all. They wouldn't check me because of like risk of infection. And she said, Corinne, you're. I looked down and I was bleeding, and she said, do you feel like you need to push? And I was like, I don't know what I feel like. I don't know how I feel. And she said, try not to push if you can because you're making your cervix bleed. And that really panicked me because I thought, oh my God, like what the hell am I doing? Like, but I was just in so much pain. And then I think about 10 minutes went past, and I was like, I'm just going to start pushing again. So I did, and then I think that's when he started to come down. So I was fully dilated by this point. I literally had 3 or 4 contractions, and his head was out. So let me take you through it slowly. So I had the pains, and Matt was like linking arms with me, and we were like crunched up, and I was like pushing, and I was like totally naked with my bum like right on show, and I was leaning up like this in the back of the bed. So they sat the bed up so that it was like that, and I was like leaning up here, and then laying down. Is that my husband? Let's have a look. No, I thought he was home early then for a minute. So I was leaning on the back of the bed, and I was pushing and pushing. Obviously, I couldn't see what was going on behind me. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like this is not happening. And then all of a sudden, the ring of fire happens, and I started to stretch. And to begin with, you know, your hole's normally about, I don't know, that big. And then it went to about sort of that big. And Matt was like, oh, I can see it. I can see him coming out. And I was like, oh my God, this is awful. But when you're pushing, it's so much better than the actual like contractions themselves, because you're actually like doing something with the contractions. You're not just like feeling the contractions happen and trying to like deal with them. You're actually doing something with them. So after that, I had literally like 4 contractions. Each time it felt like he was like, I was just like stretching. I thought, I can't stretch anymore, and then I did, and it kept going, and then suddenly like his head was out, and I was like, oh thank God for that. And then all these little contractions that were like back to back suddenly stopped, and I had about 4 minutes in between his head coming out and the rest of his body coming out. And Matt was really worried. He was like, have you got another contraction yet? And I was like, no. And I was like, oh, maybe I should. Like, oh my God, like this is awful. Like, why is this not happening? So then I just started to push again. And hello, Harry. Hello. Say hi, ladies.
Hi, ladies.
You gonna go downstairs, please?
I'm trying to play with Thunderbirds.
Okay.